Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Okay, I'm definitely not speaking like that this entire video. But happy Halloween! And when I started trying to record this audio, it was not Halloween. I've tried like 3 times now, but we're here, we're gonna do it. Hopefully I won't have to audio edit too much because this video needs to go out today. And it's the morning of Halloween. I've not even had much sleep. I've been working on this, been working on lots of other fun things for today. I'm going to be going live on Twitch at probably after this video's come out, or before rather, but at 1 p.m. my time, and it's going to be exciting. I'm not even that big of a Halloween fan. In England, it's not a huge deal, not like it could be in America, but I'm kind of going all out because I've never been a tiny little content creator or done anything like that. I've never watched a stream on Halloween before because I'm really new to that. So it's amazing to see what everyone else is doing. And I've got the tiniest bit of costume you've ever seen. I went to the shops yesterday. Town was actually heaving. I kind of thought that Halloween would pass without really being acknowledged because of the situation that we're in. But everyone's really gone and sort of run with it. So town was really busy, all the roads have been super busy. And yeah, it's nice to see that people are actually making an effort to create something out of kind of nothing. But yeah, it's going to be exciting. And I'm off to see my friends this evening. So I'm going up, they live a couple of hours away. I'm going up for a socially distanced, tiny little Halloween party. So that should be really fun. And yeah, got some fun things. So this is my Halloween video. I actually made this a few weeks ago because I thought I'd prepare, but that meant that my whole content was kind of thrown out the window and it's all been a bit mixed and jumbled. And now, as always, I'm doing this last minute, but we're going to get there. And I really enjoyed making this house. It's the first time that I've done something that's a bit quirky. So I was whimsical with it. It's not really supposed to be lived in. I don't know why you'd want to download it, but I thought I'd do something fun. So it's a bungalow. That's mainly because this was supposed to be a starter home. And I was like, oh, I'll give myself a challenge. I want to do a starter home anyway, so we'll just do a Halloween one. And we can put all of the worst appliances and beds and furniture in, and then use all the rest of the money to go really to town with a decoration. That didn't work at all. That quickly went out the window. So instead of being a 20,000 simoleon house, it's actually an 80,000 simoleon house. But I'm pretty happy with it. It got lots of small little details in, lots of clutter, and it's inspired by fall and Halloween and spooky stuff. But I don't have all the packs, so I don't have the spooky stuff pack or vampires or any occult looking things. So I've kind of had to make use of mostly seasons, I think, some debug and some base game. And right now I am doing a fireplace, and I wanted a fireplace in each room because I feel like that's quite old fashioned, it's quite gothic and very atmospheric with the lighting that comes out of that. But for this bathroom, I couldn't have put a fireplace in because it was so small, there wouldn't have been enough space to get the doors I wanted and all of the things I needed for the bathroom in. So I thought instead I'd just do a small little window into a room and then put a fake fireplace in. So it took forever, but this is me working out how to do it with candles. So if you size down candles, then the flame hovers, and then you can sort of raise that up to make a gas looking fireplace. And I've seen it done better in other builds, but this was my take on it. I wanted it to be a bit haphazard, but it ended up looking best when it was very uniform. So I hope you like it. It's just a little detail in there. And when I get the wallpaper and the lights in, it really starts to come to life. So I was happy with that. And then I've put, fireplaces in every room. It's gone for a black and an orange colour scheme because it's supposed to be sort of a cross between a fall house and a very, haunted looking creepy house. So if you've got the vampire pack, you might want to use it for vampires, or you could have a storyline, and I was wondering if I wanted to, but maybe like an evil child. So what am I kind of thinking? I'm kind of thinking about is it Transylvania or one of, oh no, the Addams family, that Wednesday Addams, maybe a character like that, and they really love this house and or a ghost or something and they haunt it. So there's lots of things that you could have fun doing with this house. So I've actually not been in the UK much for Halloweens because they usually fall over the October half term in school time and in the UK, where we would go away often. So I've had a lot of Halloweens that I never really got to do anything, or they've been in hotels. I remember being in one hotel, and in the kids club they set up a trick or treat round all of the shops of the hotel. So you'd go and you'd trick or treat at the vendors and all the people that worked there. And that was really fun. And I'd always been jealous of the people that got to stay home over Halloween because they got to trick or treat. But there were a few times when I stayed home and we did Halloween parties. So I'd get all my friends over, and this is when I was like 12 or 13, get all my friends over for a party, and we'd have my mum went to town with decorations, so we'd have spiders hanging from the walls and cobwebs and moving things and stuff that would come out and scare you. And then we'd all sort of strategize about where we were going to go and where the best loots were and who was giving out money instead of candy and where you'd get multiple. Oh, the best one is when the house was trick or treating as well, and then they just have a bowl outside and you could take as much as you wanted because they weren't rationing you. Oh, I remember that being so good. But then I remember the sadness when you got to a bowl and it had been emptied by some hoarder before you. That was horrible. But no, we used to hit up like the richest parts of towns and like we'd try and go to houses 2 or 3 times in a night, because with like one of us getting a whole load and then running off. And yeah, it was really fun. But I don't think that English Halloween is at all what American Halloween is, because my grandparents and my uncle used to live in America when my uncle was tiny, and so he grew up with Halloween being an absolutely massive thing, like 40 years ago, 45 years ago. And they used to get the day off school. They'd all go into school for a costume competition, and then they'd sort of break off into their friendship groups and go trick or treating and just come back with bagfuls of candy. But then I think just decorations were a huge thing out there, and all the houses would go for really extravagant plots to scare the children. And so when they came back to England, they brought it back to the town that they live in, and they've lived there ever since. And no one was doing Halloween at that time. It wasn't a thing, no one knew about it, no one cared. And so they kind of started that in their village, and they still do something super extravagant. And I think they'll be really upset this year that they can't do anything. But they would have, like, my grandmother would start it off with opening the door, and then they'd have, like, my uncle would come and scare the children from behind them, or they'd winch down some treats or whatever. So they really loved Halloween. So yeah, it's all going to be different this year, but hopefully by next year we can get back to it. And as I say, it's just so nice to see people embracing the restrictions and doing something out of nothing. So it's it's going to be a fun day, whatever. And I hope that you are doing something fun or taking some time to, I don't know, have some chill time or whatever, and aren't too stressed out by it all, because I'm sure it can be a really stressful situation. And for me, it was always super stressful because since I've been tiny, I've had a fear of masks and people, well, obviously people wearing masks. So where I used to do ballet, there was like the ballet shop that supplied us right next door that I think was owned by the studio. And I would refuse. I'd scream my head off if my mum ever made me go in that shop during Halloween time, because they were kind of a costume shop as well, so they had the terrifying masks, and they'd be right up on the top, so all of the eyes would stare down at you. And oh my god, if I had to go in for like a tap dress or what is it, modern dress or something, they had skirts. If I needed new ones of those or new ballet shoes, they'd have to bring it outside the shop for me to try on, and then my mum would have to bring it back in if I needed a different size, because I would refuse, and that's kind of stuck with me. So my parents never took me to Disney World because I was just I would have just cried the entire time and screamed. If Mickey Mouse had been like, "Oh, take my hand and I'll take you to the next ride," I would have just like broken down. So I still haven't been to Disney World, which I hope that I will get to go at some point, either for, I don't know, a birthday or when my kid's are born or something. But yeah, I masks. There are some in London where people, I guess it's gold statues, and they, or you've got some that look like they're floating when they sit down. Really cool things. And they will take you in for hugs, or obviously before all the pandemic stuff, they would take you in for hugs. And I'd just be there like, you have no idea who is under this mask. And obviously they're not going to be horrible people. They've been doing this for years and haven't killed anyone. But I just get so paranoid. So, especially trick-or-treaters, when they'd come in and they'd look really realistic and they'd have masks on, I'd be like, what on earth? Who are you? Why are you at my house? I know you want treats, but are you here to rob me? So, yeah, it's a really big paranoia of mine. But I don't know, I probably will shake it at some point. And it's probably being helped by the pandemic with all the mask wearing. But yeah, that's one of my big fears. Okay, I've just rambled about Halloween and my insane fears for most of this video. So you've seen the house sort of starting to take shape. I did finish that bathroom and most of the kitchen. I think I no, I've already put posters in. And the bedroom, I wanted it to be quite grand and quite fitting with the whole build. So it's got that black wallpaper, which I never thought that I'd use because I used it in a video a couple of weeks ago for a teens room or a university student's room. I was like, oh, I'm never going to use this again. This is probably the only time. But I think it worked quite well in that room to give it a bit of depth because this was supposed to be a starter home, so I didn't want much artwork on the walls. And then it's got lots of interest and it's a bit metallic looking in its texture. So I think that works quite nicely. And then I've tried to keep the orange and black theme running throughout. So we've got dead twigs everywhere, and I'm just doing the hallway. So that's got a computer and a big desk in there. And I really like that desk and how tall it is. It's got lots of details on it. Oh, I'm just going to word splurge this video, I think, because I'm trying to do all this audio in one take because I am under time pressure today. But have you seen Snowy Escape, the new pack? The kitchen counters in that have so much detail on them. You've got, they're open so you can see all the plates and the cutlery and the cups and things, and I'm so excited. They look so good. But back to this build because I am really not focusing. But I was putting in some lights and I wanted it all to be as eerie as possible. So I like that chandelier at the front. I think that works really well over the rug, which is faux faux leather or something from Vintage Glamour. And that's nice. And then I like my houses to be quite light in the evenings so that you don't miss out on gameplay and you're not struggling to see. So I could have probably left it as just wall lights, which would have looked good, but I added that kitchen chandelier in as well. And now I think this is the final room. So this is the living room, and I was really happy with how this turned out. It's quite simplistic. I've got a few debug items on that fireplace, but when I put this wood paneling in, I was like, oh, this is perfect. This is just home. So I hope you like this. And then it's got the orange accents as well. And I just went for quite spacious. It's got everything you need. So it's got the TV, the sofas, a few decoration items, but it's not too busy. And I think what I don't do enough is a closed floor plan. So the kitchen's open. I could have closed it off if I'd wanted to, but having this living room that it doesn't have arches or anything, it's just sort of its own separate space is really quite nice, I think. And I've really gone to town with the pumpkins. The pumpkins are seen throughout. They're at the front, in the back garden, in most of the rooms, you've got pumpkins. But I liked how all of them had different faces on. There's not much difference between the colours, but they've all got different faces, which I loved. So I just put the finishing touches on here. And then I worked on the back and I really didn't know what to do. But I think it came out quite nice. It was very simplistic. I went with the end. Also, on this, as I was doing this build, I just got island living. So I had to cut out a load of things where I was just looking at every single swatch of different items and all the new build and buy mode items and rugs and things. So I cut all of that out. But I've added a few bits in from that pack. So my builds will probably get more pack heavy the more I download. I've still got Nifty Knitting and Dine Out to install into my game and have a play around with. So I'm quite excited for those next builds. But at the moment I'm finishing a beach hut in Sulani, which is really nice. I should also probably mention that I was making a lot of this on stream and I had a few issues with how to record while I was streaming because the first way that I did it, which is how I thought would work best, actually lagged my stream completely. So I think it also created a really bad video. And so halfway through, I've had to go and change the way that I was filming. I think I've worked out the best way to do it and the best program to use so that it doesn't lag my stream and also gives me a good quality video. So if there are any video issues and it's a bit blurry, I do apologize, but I'm hoping that that won't be the case anymore. So I think that I've got it sorted. But as always, let me know if there's anything that I need to change to make better quality videos. I want to work a bit more with making it all look a bit prettier and a bit more interesting and not just being a speed build. But also I will be bringing a Let's Play to my channel at some point. And with recent announcements, there might be a lot more content coming soon because it's very likely that in the next few days or weeks I won't be having a pub job anymore for the foreseeable future. In which case, what better to do than spend my time streaming and making YouTube videos and content. So if you are out there, this is one thing that I wanted to do was make maybe houses for other people or do sort of specific builds. So if there's anything that you want me to really try and you're like, oh, I've got this family and I want them to move into a house, but I don't really feel like building a massive mansion or a starter home or something, do let me know. Twitter's a good place. YouTube comments if you want to, comment down below. And I will try and do that for you because it'd be really cool to make something that someone will actually use in their game. And so, yeah, if that sounds like something you'd like to do, then do hit me up. I'd be really interested too. I've got lots of ideas for my channel and for this new Let's Play, I've got to go back to my legacy family. I actually haven't been playing much myself recently. I've been doing a bit of Fall Guys, but a lot of just streaming and content creation and things. So it might be nice to have some more time where I can actually go back to the families that I've invested so much time into already and play. But this build is starting to take shape. I'm just working on the back. I left this quite simple. I was still mucking around with island living things because there are so many new plants and I'm so excited to use the palm trees properly. Cannot wait till I get to do that. But I also didn't know what I wanted to do. So I really put off this backyard because this is a 20 by 30 lot, maybe, or 20 by 20. And there was so much space. So I didn't know. I was still sort of had the starter home vibes. I didn't want it to be too plush or interesting or too many seating options. So I put a fire pit and some spooky looking stones in there, I guess. And then just a lot of dirt and mud and made it look quite dark. But it's all sort of taking shape. I didn't go too much. I really like this light also with this tree with the lights in it. I think that looks gorgeous. And yeah, it's all quite simple. So let me know what you think about this build. It's supposed to be super quirky and fun. It's not supposed to be the best thing you've ever seen. But it's also a branch for me because I was supposed to do I wanted to do a golden age house with funky roofing and making it look eerie and where, I don't know, a very strange old person would live. And that just didn't come together. So I'm glad that I got something down. Also, what I found out is I did not know that we had a black swatch of stones. So you know how much I love stones through all my builds. So I incorporated that, but I did not know that there was a black version. So I don't know if that's new for spooky season, maybe in the last update, or if I've just been an idiot for this entire time, not realising that that's always been in there. But I thought I'd layer that up because I wanted these flower pots in here, but they didn't come in a black swatch, and I just couldn't have brown, it just wouldn't have fitted, so I put all the stones round. I think it gives it some interest. And then we skip forward a little bit and I decided to change all these roofs because it was looking a bit boring. I think for a house like this, it would kind of cool to have some weird roofs. So this is the spooky house. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already for all my new content. Have an amazing Halloween. I will see you all next time. Mwahaha.